Alright guys, we are back working on the boat. Did a bunch of cutting and some measuring off camera, just so that way I didn't bore you guys, but we got all of the, majority of the new wood already measured out, trimmed up and in place. We got the new stringers put in, we got some support beams. In the front here, we're gonna end up replacing that with a thicker board. So we filled the bottom hole so far. We're gonna throw a thicker board on the top of it, just to give a little more support. And that's the same thing for right here in front of the motor. So we're gonna mix up some resin, and we're gonna start fiberglassing all this new wood in. Alright, so somehow I lost the audio for this section of the clip, but here we are. We finished fiberglassing in the stringers. So this is the stringer on the driver's side of the boat. We got everything all sealed up. Turned out pretty good. Looking over here onto the left side, same thing. We got this whole stringer fiberglassed in, as well as some of these side supports where the foam used to go. So lastly, we ended up evening out the front where this support in the front of the gas tank went. We ended up leveling it out. I'm going to end up putting a 2x6 in there, just making it a little bit thicker than it was in the past. I'm actually going to be doing the same thing in the back as well, but since we did remove the foam, I'm probably going to put some supports here on the side just to help hold up some of the weights of the seats, since there's not going to be the foam there. And then here is the back of it as well. Again, we still need to cut that piece, so we're going to cut those real quick. Alright, so we got the two pieces cut. I'm going to slowly grind down this fiberglass on the edge, and maybe I'll take a little bit more off the wood to get it to fit in there a little bit better. But first piece is going to be going along here. Second piece is right there, which will be going back down on this side. Alright, well, kind of fits. If I hit that with a hammer, I could probably get that in. Maybe I could just shave the sides of it just a little bit more and we should be good. Yeah, I'm gonna hit it with the grinder real quick. If I can get it out now. We're almost there. Let me get a hammer. I'll make it fit. Alright, so that's right where it's got to be. That's perfect. Sweet. So there's one of them. A little bit of a gap at the corners, but that's expected. But yeah, I got some of that fiberglass chop strand that you can kind of make into like a paste or a glue. So I'll end up just jamming a bunch of it down in there. I am gonna have to sand the top of this a little bit. It is a little high compared to the rest of it. So that way the floor ends up sitting straight. Looks like this side's actually pretty even. But this side over here gets kind of high, so we'll have to sand it down a little bit. Make sure that it's nice and even so the floor doesn't bow up at all in the middle. And then we just gotta do the same thing for back here. Make sure that one fits. Alright, so a couple more small cuts. We were able to get this back piece to fit. We did have to notch that out because all those fuel lines are gonna end up dipping down there. That's where the all the fuel ports come out of, so had to drop that down a little bit. I did do the math wrong, and I didn't get a board that was thick enough, so I am going to use a little bit left of the stringer right on top of this to help fill that gap, so that way there's no dip down there. That way they're the same height. You can see it drops down about maybe like 3/4 of an inch, so the wood we use for the stringer should be the right depth. So we'll basically just cut a strip. I'll screw it down and attach it, and then I'll drape the fiberglass over both of them and then just really lock them together. So got that all good. Before I start setting this back piece in, I'm just trying to be as smart about this as possible. I think I'm going to replace the bilge pump. It's not very hard to get to, but it's going to be a little bit harder once this wood's locked in place. So I think I'm going to clean up under there real quick, get all that junk out of there, and hopefully just screw in the new bilge pump. I don't even think I'm going to wire it in. I think I'm just going to go and screw it to the hull, maybe connect the hose and just leave the wires up top so that way I can get to that later on. But that way it's already done and out of the way. Alright, so I ended up putting the just the actual like tray. I screwed that down in there, took the old bilge pump out. I'll be able to get the rest of it in. It's just getting down in there with the drill. It's going to be difficult, but let's get this cleaned out. I'll get ready to fiberglass in these last two supports. So this one I just cut a little notch out for water to drain. This one's sitting in place, still fitting good. So I'm gonna be doing all the fiberglass for this by myself. So I got all my sheets all cut up, resin, hardeners, everything that I should need for it. So let's get these last two pieces lashed in. up glassing in this back piece. I actually ran out of fiberglass. The only roll that I have left is the giant 6 foot wide roll that's going to go over the whole floor, so I'm not going to use that one for now. I'm going to end up ordering some more. All that's really left, I got to hit a couple spots on the back of this, kind of hard to see, and then obviously that front one. Once that's done, we'll be able to drop that gas tank back in. We'll be able to hook all the fuel lines back up. I still need to trim up the front there to figure out how that's going to work as far as like supports we're putting in the new piece, but after that we can just drop in the actual top piece. And then, like I said earlier, I have those big a big 6 foot roll of fiberglass that we're going to end up using for the top of this, just one big sheet. So change of plans from the last video after reading through some of the comments. So I am going to get rid of the carpet, and I'm also going to get rid of this big cutout that was in the middle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glass it, and then I'm going to go through, and I got a total boat, I forget what it's called, but it's basically like marine bondo. So I'll smear that on the top, sand down the top deck, get that all nice and smooth, and then I got a total boat primer, and then a non-skid paint. I could show you those cans here in just a second, but going to end up painting the whole floor white. It's going to be a little bit till we paint the floor white. I still want to get the floor all squared away, get the fiberglass done and all that, and then I want to finish doing everything on the engine. New trim pump finally came in, so we can start wiring all that stuff up, get everything running the way that it should, and then we'll go back and do the paint. So let me grab all this stuff out of the boat, and I'll go show you those cans of paint real quick. Alright, so this is your fairing compound. So this is your part A resin, and then part B hardener. So you mix together equal parts of this. I think you let it sit for about like 15 minutes. I could be wrong, I didn't even read it yet. Mixed to a 1:1 ratio. Let's see. Make sure it's a mixed green color, and then you can smear that stuff on there. Once that stuff's hardened, we'll sand it down. And yes, these cans are smashed. They got delivered this way. This is the primer, so hopefully 1 gallon should be enough, but we'll once you sand it down, we'll spread the primer on there, let that sit and dry up, and then we have non-skid deck paint. So we're just going to go with the white floor on there. So hopefully a gallon of those should be plenty. Worst case, I can buy some more. But yeah, coming along pretty good. Still have a little bit of fiberglass and work left to do, but we're out of glass, so gonna hold off for now. But big step today, getting all this knocked out. So that way it's finally heading in the right direction, and we can hopefully start putting stuff together. So thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.